Hello, you wonderful people. So for today's video, I want to share some thoughts and theories I had about the official trailer that just dropped for season 4 of Lucifer. If you haven't seen it, I'll include a link to it in the description down below. Holy crap, a lot of interesting things to kind of discuss about this. Obviously, going into this, I'd already read a couple months back about Eve being a character that are added to this whole situation. What I didn't expect is that it creates this love triangle situation between Lucifer, Chloe, and Eve. And it's kind of interesting because obviously, you know, for him, he's trying to, you know, it's like, okay, Chloe's seen his face, like knows that it really is the devil and all that. And it seems like she's having a hard time processing it. It's kind of interesting because everyone has their, you know, processing. It took Linda a little while, but she completely accepts it. But I think what complicates things for Chloe, it's like she actually loves Lucifer, so it adds this whole level of complication. So it seems like at one point in time, she kind of distanced herself from him, and then it just gets harder and harder to be around her. And it's just like, it's so sad because it's like, oh, just when you're really in a good place, everything happens. I guess it's almost like Cain's last little middle finger to Lucifer. And obviously this whole like, because I didn't expect that whole thing of like, oh yeah, like him and Eve being a thing. I knew she'd be in the show, but I didn't know what role she was going to play. And that's so interesting because like obviously it's like Lucifer has made a lot of progress of not looking at himself as like, oh, this evil person. It's like, yeah, that's my thought that like I had because like dad put that, you know, it basically put out this reputation of I'm this evil person. But obviously he saw the good side of himself. He sees himself as like a good person. I don't have to be like the devil. I don't have to be bad. But he has Eve pulling him in that direction because for him it's like, also because it's like Chloe looks at me like that, and it's like if she, the person he cares about most in this world, the person that's the most important to him, looks at him like that, then, you know, Lucifer's going to start looking at himself like that because Eve's like, I accept you for who you are. You don't have to change. Obviously, she's tugging at that dark nature. I am curious to see, like, where has she been? Like, is she someone, was she actually in hell and then she escaped? Or has she just been wandering Earth this entire time? Or what Eve's whole situation is? Like, I'm assuming she's kind of got like some immortality situation. Like Cain's situation was, it was more of a curse. I'm wondering if Eve's the same. But it also seems like basically Lucifer and Eve, that's his first love, which is so interesting on many different levels. But it's just, first of all, it's like, well, apparently it's going to be like some major darkness level stuff if they ever, you know, reunite fully, which is so interesting because I like the parallels because obviously the last season was, you know, Cain and Chloe, now it's Eve and Lucifer. And it's so interesting because Lucifer hasn't actually been in a like committed, like a loving relationship since he met with Chloe. Like obviously there's a whole Candy situation, but we know that was like a fake marriage thing just to kind of, you know, it was his way of protecting himself as well as protecting Chloe because it's like, oh, my dad set this all in motion, so Chloe's feelings for me aren't real. And, you know, I loved obviously Linda playing, you know, couple counselor in this situation too, because it's like helping Lucifer with the whole, you know, Chloe situation, but then also there's the whole thing with Eve, and it's like, oh yeah. And I love that Linda has become the counselor to the Celestials. I love that being kind of her new gig. I'm curious to see how that ends up progressing because obviously we learned a little bit about Linda, you know, last season about like her ex-husband and that whole situation. So, and speaking of Linda, I'm curious about the whole her and Amenadiel situation, of the whole situation of like, obviously the last time we saw him last season was when he got his wings back and he took Charlotte to heaven. That was the last time. So I'm curious to see how he's dealing with all that, like, because obviously he grew a lot because he had this one perspective of himself, but his time on Earth changed him. And I'm curious, is he going to go back to being the Amenadiel he was before? Is he going to be a complete Amenadiel we've come to know recently, or is, you know, is it going to be a combination of the two? I'm curious, like, will having gotten his wings back change anything? And when he went back to heaven, did he meet with God? Did he meet with his other siblings or whatever? Like, did they have any questions about Lucifer? Because it's like, yeah, Lucifer's still kicking on Earth. It's so interesting because Amenadiel's original mission was to take him back to hell, but it's like Lucifer's just been kicking it on Earth this entire time, and now that Amenadiel's got his wings back, it's like, are you going to take your brother back? But Amenadiel realizes how good being on Earth has been good for his brother, so it's going to be interesting to see what ends up happening there. There's the whole Maze situation, like both her relationship with Amenadiel and Lucifer. It seems like things were, you know, taking a better spin last season. Obviously, there's the whole her working with Cain situation, but still, like, I'm curious to see, you know, where they stand this season. Like, are things going to be super complicated? Because obviously Maze has kind of got her own life. Obviously, where does that stand with her, Chloe, and Trixie? There's Dan's situation, because I'm sure Dan's kind of having a darker side, because let's not forget, him and Charlotte were super close. Like, they were falling in love, and just to lose her that quickly when things are kind of taking off for them, like obviously, you know, Dan's going to be in a dark place. You know, and I'm curious to see how his story ends up progressing because of all of that. And then there's another thing that's kind of constantly popped up in my head I'm curious about too, is the whole Ella situation. Obviously, I'm constantly bringing up the fact is I want them to kind of include like the bonus episode continuity. I feel like it would, because that was already something that was going to be for the future anyway, but you know, it's kind of an out of context story. But obviously we learned about her thing is that Ella could see ghosts, and obviously her connection to Azrael, which will we see any more of her? Probably not, but she'll probably be watching over her brother, once again depending on if they kind of fold that into the continuity. Like I said, mainly, or they're going to do anything else with Ella's whole situation of seeing ghosts. Is that's going to play any role in this? She's going to kind of play a bit of a counselor for, because obviously, you know, she's probably rooting for Lucifer and Chloe, obviously, because, you know, Ella's all about love and everything. And I'm curious, like, does she know about Lucifer? I don't know if that conversation ever came up, because she never actually found out herself. Only Chloe knows. I wonder, will she tell Dan? But she told Dan, would Dan even believe her? Because she's in the process of digesting it all herself. Obviously, I brought up Amenadiel earlier, but now it's like knowing that Eve's back and everything, and what that could mean, them reuniting. Like Amenadiel might step in that role of like, if you keep persisting down this road, brother, I might literally have to pull you back to hell just to keep you away from this situation. What other, you know, potential celestial people or Bible-related people we could potentially see in the future? Obviously, like I said, we got Cain and Abel. Now we've got Eve. What about Adam? That's a whole conversation in itself, like what that whole situation ends up being. Because I'm really interested to dive into Lucifer and Eve's situation too, because I'm now sitting here thinking about, right, because like Lucifer was supposed to be the serpent that convinced Eve to eat the apple from the Garden of Eden. So it's like, obviously, like a lot of stuff is not the way it's supposed to be. So I'm curious to get their true story of like, oh, this is exactly what happened. What happened to Adam? Was it kind of like a third wheel situation? Did Lucifer steal her heart from Adam? Like I said, is he going to pop up this season trying to win her back? So is it going to be like a love square instead of just a love triangle? Or is he long since gone? I'm curious about all of that. Like I said, these are just some of my thoughts and theories. In the comments down below, let me know some of your thoughts and theories about what you'd like to see, or what you think we'll see, or what you'd want to see from this season. But really, that's all I'm going to talk about. Till the next time we meet, be happy, be safe, live life to the fullest, and enjoy it. Good day and good